Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Between the Studs. I'm your host Mark. Today I'm joined by Daniel.
How's it going?
And Daniel alone, because this is going to be another one of Daniel's deep dives.
Just the two of us. I think I make that joke every time.
We do, yeah. But it's usually we have three people, but this time we're doing two because we just couldn't find another person who was here that loves Paradisa the way we
Probably
do.
works better. I think if we did these deep dives with three people, they'd be like an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
Although I say that, we haven't filmed this. It could be an hour and a half long.
Yeah, you never
Hopefully
know.
It's not.
we aim for an hour, but we'll see how it goes. But this time, I think it's a really fun theme. This is a deep dive into Paradisa and all its...
Sorry, Para-deez what?
We're going to try to fit that joke in as many times as possible. But,
What joke?
I'm really excited for this theme. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and I didn't realize we had so much of this theme on hand. Because it is kind of rare and old and exclusive.
Yeah,
so.
we've had a little bit of a burst here lately. We've been getting a lot of... we had a lot of Paradisa sets still on the to-be inventoried shelf, and we kind of rearranged that and filtered it out recently, and so some of that stuff is... Some of the cream is rising to the top.
Exactly.
We're getting it all inventoried now, put out for sale.
So we have a lot to talk about. I have a list of kind of discussion topics here we can go through, but before we get too much farther into the video, we really need to break down what is Paradisa for those who really have no idea what this obscure theme is. That's number two.
You really should humble, Mark. You got to enunciate your words.
But what is this theme, Daniel? Describe this for someone who has never heard of it before, which is probably not a small amount of people. Honestly.
Yeah, but Paradisa was a...
Paradise what?
Yeah. Was the first really girl-targeted theme, which is really interesting. It stands out in a lot of ways. Obviously, it's very... I think pink-washed is one of the terms that people use to describe, toys that are very oriented for girls, which was a far cry from what Lego had been messaging in their branding and campaigning for a long time. There's this old ad that always comes back up that I think was from maybe the 60s or 70s. We can probably find a picture of it, where it was a girl building something out of basic Lego bricks, the standard primary colors, and it said something like "Lego is for everyone."
Or what it is beautiful.
Yes, I think that was it. So there's been a few variations on that, but Lego's branding was always that these are for everyone, and I think as they got into the 90s and they got into more pirates and castle and very specific boy-oriented things, they were like, okay, we got to do some things to keep girls interested. So, so this was their first attempt at that. But you'll find that it's one of the most, I think, popular ones ever since then. Still with NEA falls today, men and women alike.
Yeah.
I think it's just so iconic and I won't say timeless. I mean, it's very dated looking.
It's very 90s.
In a very, cool retro aesthetic way, and I think that's why it has more staying power than some of the other alternate themes I think we'll talk about a little later.
For some reason, Paradisa kind of captures my feelings of nostalgia for when I was a little kid growing up, So, I mean, these sets were releasing as I was born in '94, but it just kind of brings me back and makes me feel nostalgic for sure. But
sunsets and palm trees, baby.
Exactly. It's a really cool theme, and if you're in the community for a while, you'll probably hear about it and discover it. But when did you discover Paradisa, Dan? Can you even remember when, at one point, you were like, wow, there's these crazy... pink-themed Lego town sets.
I'm sure I had, faint passing encounters with it when I was younger, but didn't really know much about it. The first Paradisa set that I would have gotten would be the big bulk lot that I bought on Facebook Marketplace. This was, right during COVID.
Yeah.
It was somebody who lived right in my hometown and had, I don't know how many hundreds of pounds worth of Lego, and I think I bought it for $100. And it had dozens of great sets all from the 90s, and this one was in there. This is my copy from that haul of the Poolside Paradise. Arguably the most iconic, I think, out of all the Paradisa sets.
For sure, one of them.
With these big glass domes, this really cool, open-air cafe kind of thing.
Luxurious.
The pool and the diving boards, and it's got all the things that make Paradisa great. Pretty much in that one set, so
so pretty early in your Lego collecting spree during COVID.
For vintage stuff, for sure. Yeah. So that would have been, gosh, it doesn't seem like it, but I guess it was about 4 years ago now. So
for me, it was probably when, as a teenager with too much time on his hands, one of the things I did was just look around Bricklink and learn all about the old Lego stuff. But Classic Castle and Classic Space are my main focuses, but I went through Classic Town as well, went through all the sub-themes, and Paradisa was one of them, and that's probably the first time I ever saw or heard of it.
Yeah.
But never really got too deep into it until more recently working here. We do get it pretty often. Like, we at least get a couple sets per year, and I've been here for a number of years, so I've seen some come through, and I always find them more interesting. The older I get, the more interesting and kind of nostalgic they become. So that's how I discovered it. But now, we both talked about, how much we like this theme, some of the cool aspects of it, but are there any things that we can really nail down as to why we are, drawn to this theme compared to other themes from the time? Because there was a lot of stuff going on in the late 90s for Lego.
There's definitely a few different reasons that people could be into it still today. I think one of the biggest ones amongst mock builders would be unique parts and unique colors. Mm-hmm. So you've got the original pink.
Yeah, just pink on Bricklink.
No bright pink, no dark pink, no none of that stuff. I actually learned something interesting recently, which has to do with why all of the Lego colors the official Lego colors have such weird names.
Yeah.
Is that there's no Danish word for pink.
Yeah.
Which is why on like Bricks and Pieces they're all like very light purple.
Yeah, lavender,
whitish red or something. It's like, all right, whatever. There is no Danish word for pink. But this is original pink, and there were not a ton of different parts made in it.
Yeah, pretty limited part selection.
A handful of basic plates, 1x1s, 2s, 3s, and then you get, wacky, harder to use parts like these, spiral staircases and railings.
Or the fences.
So, not a little harder to utilize, but if you wanted to build something out of pink, you could add some accent colors in there for sure, if you're able to collect enough of it and track it down.
Yeah, for sure.
And then this other one, is this medium green?
I can look it up really quick.
I think that's what this was.
The very bright light green color of the base plates from Paradisa are super iconic. Let me see if I can find that exact one.
I get fuzzy on some of these old colors, but yeah, you got raised base plates in it. You got some larger basic plates that they used for it. I think there were also 16x16 standard plates, and then some bigger 32x32 ones with some
light green,
just
plain old light green. Yeah.
There were some other ones with beach patterns and island patterns and things. So mostly used for the landscape, not really appearing in a ton of basic parts in that color. But I believe Belleville also had some bricks and plates and things that might have appeared in that color.
Yeah, I think Belleville, maybe even Scala got into those greens a little bit. But that original pink, I think, is pretty exclusive to this theme, which is pretty cool. So.
But I would say more than just the parts. I think a lot of collectors are just into this for, like I was mentioned earlier, the aesthetic of it. I think it's just a really nice. I mean, it came out in the 90s, but it feels more like 80s to me. Palm trees and sunsets and sunglasses and sleeveless tops and mustaches and diving boards and all of that. So
the color scheme is a little 80s. Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. It's very. Kind of retro synthwave, which is very big right now. Lego Island, all of the same kind of tie-ins there for sure.
Absolutely. We talked a little bit about the rare colors and pieces. There are also some just rare molds, a few here and there, because I think that the smaller window was pretty hard to find outside of Paradisa.
Yeah, they lasted. I think they lasted later into the 2000s. There were some that came in white in a horse trailer that I'm distinctly remembering.
Yeah.
So I think those ones stayed around a little while. The bigger corner curved pieces I know were probably around till about the same time, probably about 2010, because I think the Space Police base had them in trans dark blue.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, for the larger corner ones. The smaller corner ones, I'm pretty sure came in a horse trailer or something as well. So probably wrapped up that mold around the end of the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's in a couple sets in white, one dark bluish gray, a lime use, and medium azure.
2019.
But clear, actually, it looks like they brought it back for the hair salon.
Wow,
That's
clear.
Interesting. So, Friends reviving that cool piece.
Look at that.
I'm going to have to get one of those copies.
Yeah, that's
cool. That's awesome. All right, but it's cool to see that those pieces are being just barely surviving through the web of Lego sets. But, I also liked how in some of the sets that are more horse oriented, we had this really cool. It almost looks like a prototype because
it does.
Like the new the little wooden duck prototype piece that's like 3D printed. This has that vibe to it. It's a little full pony piece that only came in 2 Paradisa sets. And you have one of these, right, Daniel?
This is one of them here. I don't remember the name of most of these small ones.
I could look it up here.
I think it's I don't even know. I won't venture a guess, but it is a very cool piece.
Is it Sunset
It
Stables?
No, not the one with the trailer. It's a very small one with the.
It's not Rolling Acres.
It's just like a fence.
You scroll and find it. We can add this. Is it Carriage Ride? I think it's Carriage Ride. Yeah,
Carriage Ride 6404. This one here. It does look like a prototype, I agree, because there were some early prototype horses that had the eyes indented as opposed to printed, and so it kind of is evocative of that. But you've got this really nice detailed, it looks like when you like braid the mane of a horse, really, which the standard horses don't have.
Yeah.
They have a little bit of molded texture on the side of the neck, but nothing near as crazy as that.
Yeah, it's a lot more textured and detailed. It really does kind of feel like that older prototype horse. Yeah. It's interesting.
And we have seen Foal reappear recently in the CMF series, gosh, what was it, 24, 25?
Yeah, one of the last more recent CMFs.
There was a horse girl that had a small foal that it was kind of similar to that. I think it was it Dark Orange?
Dark Orange. And that's kind of a little more based on the new horse design, which would make sense, but yeah.
But it's good to see something similar coming back, because I don't think we had any small horses between the two of those, as far as I know. And
interestingly, I saw this used in Classic Castle mocks back in the day and was like, that's pretty crazy. I didn't even know that existed. So it's pretty fun. Yeah, people were like, no, it's actually Lego. It's real. So that's great. But yeah, we have a number of cool sets in front of us. We've already kind of talked about a few elements from them, but let's kind of go through the list chronologically. It's worth mentioning that Paradisa was around for a number of different years and had a number of different sets.
It was very long running, yeah. So there were some kind of distinct waves or themes as you look through the years. So we started in 1992 there. Let's see, do we have any of those ones here?
We sure do.
Poolside Paradise was in the original wave, which makes sense. Like I said, that one kind of has the most. I think it's the most iconic one.
Yeah.
I also brought here, just because I've been collecting recently, the just like the miniaturized sticker versions of different sets, and so this one from the Monkey Kid, was it City of Lanterns? There is a sticker here for Poolside Paradise.
Yeah, they got Paradisa references in Monkey Kid.
Yeah, you see it in Monkey Kid and Ninjago and things where they're doing callbacks to old themes. So this would be considered, I think, one of the most iconic.
Yeah, and that one had the raised base plate, so it seems like the biggest set, but actually the Rolling Acres Ranch was the biggest one from that one. I don't think we have that one here, do we? Maybe?
No, I don't think we have that one. We might have one in the back that's waiting to be inventory. Oh, wait.
Hold on. There it is.
We do have one. We did get that one.
That's a pretty sizable box, yeah.
Yeah, I had gotten this one in the same haul, and I actually did trade it in, because I'm not a huge fan of the horse stables sort of sub-theme as much as I am the beach.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning Paradisa is a dual environment, because you got the horse stables, the horse girl archetype, and then you have the beach scene, the like oceanside luxurious archetype. So there's two different environments.
I don't think of a lot of horse owners as living near the beach. Usually you think of them in the countryside or near the woods or something.
Yeah.
But, I mean, sure enough, we've got horses here right near the lake with sailboats and palm
trees everywhere. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's
probably at least some crossover, but it doesn't seem like a natural pairing to me either. So.
But yeah, you got these nice sort of half stable doors or barn doors that they used. I don't know if those were new for this or not.
I need to look it up though, because that's starting to get my attention too, Daniel.
But we got a number of other distinct new molds that you might not think about. I believe the ponytail piece was new for this theme.
It is, yeah.
We got a lot of nice printed parts in these first few ones. Later they started to lean more towards stickers. But we got these cool textured slopes for the roofs that look kind of like cobblestone, which they also used in the roads. We got this classic palm tree logo on lots of different pieces, bricks and panels and things. So some nice printed parts that came out of these early waves.
Yeah, an interesting base plate too. But the pink door, the half stable door, only came in two Scala sets. No, not Scala sets. Two Paradisa sets and one Classic Town Recreation set, which was Gator Landing. And I've
never seen.
I've never even seen that set before.
Only one.
Yeah, no, I've seen the raft before.
Yeah.
But that's a weird use of that piece. It might be for like the back of a vehicle or something, but so a very obscure element, only in 3 sets, 2 colors.
You do see them a lot though, because they're in high quantities in those sets. It's 7 in this one and 3 in the country.
So you can find them. It's not like they don't exist.
You see those a lot. Yeah.
interesting piece, though. And they also had the pink fences in that set, too.
The pink fences, yep, the barn fences.
Pretty
that
crazy.
piece was around a lot in white, for sure, the most common.
Yeah, that was the biggest one from the line. But we also had, like the Sunset Stables, which you mentioned earlier. Just a little trailer and Jeep.
It was almost an identical trailer design, if not exactly identical to the one in Rolling Acres Ranch.
Yeah.
It shares a lot of the exact same design.
But what's probably my favorite Paradisa set is another one we actually happen to have here, of course, because we have a good selection.
We got all the
now.
Wave 1 ones. This is great.
The Sand Dollar Cafe, which I love this little bubble-shaped restaurant here.
The
It's so
wraparound
nice.
window. That's pretty great.
Got the beach there, the lifeguard
Yep.
checking out everybody, making sure they're all safe. Get the ice cream little
The
cooler.
little ice cream stand is great. I love these tiles with the ice cream cone print, and then there's another one that's in a set we'll probably talk about later where it looks like the ice cream in the little compartments under the glass, like if you go to Baskin Robbins or whatever.
Exactly.
Ah, gosh. Yeah, this is great. You got the parasailer, too, which is just a great print for that. You get that very simple palm tree, but just perfectly works with the aesthetic of that.
That would be a great, if you had one of those shirts that has a little pattern repeated over it.
Yeah.
Those little, a little decorative palm
that'd
tree
be
on
cool.
each one.
Yeah. A button
Super
down.
subtle, yeah.
Button down,
I'm thinking
maybe
of
with the
t-shirt
Paradisa
designs
palm
as
tree.
we go through this. I'm thinking of t-shirt designs.
That'd
now.
be a premium shirt if we do like a button down or
That'd
a
be
polo
pretty cool.
shirt or something.
But that also seems like something the minifigures of Paradisa would wear in their day-to-day lives, because they all seem to be just having a great time
We
out
got the
there.
freckle face, too. I wonder if that was new for this.
From
Or
the
if that was in-
Wikipedia page I was reading earlier, the freckled face was new, as well as all the female faces with eyelashes and more red lips.
Because some of these were different than the one in Pirates.
Well, those are all an upgrade from the Pirates figure, which is a lot more subtle and muted.
Yeah.
These are a lot more like people doing their makeup to go out to the beach. So, so very unique minifigures going on.
Yeah, this is a great one for sure.
But let's see, any other sets that we have from this first wave? Poolside Paradise, Rolling Acres Ranch, Sand Dollar Cafe, Sunset Stables, Seaside Cabana, which I think you actually have
Cabana.
here.
Yep, I've got that one over here. That was the other one with the paraglider, and then this little. It's not really a jet ski. I don't know. It's
Kinda. I think it was
more
supposed to be a jet ski.
Pontoon or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some sort of personal watercraft.
Reminiscent
anyway.
of that.
Yeah.
But this is the introduction of one thing that I thought was really interesting in Paradisa, where it has this little arbor above the scene.
Yes.
And they repeated that design multiple times. I think that must have been a good
these small
design.
sets use the same design.
A popular trend in Paradisa, the sets. It even has the parrot on top,
Got the
like
classic
repeating
parrot.
in some
Yeah,
cases.
yep.
So. Very interesting. That would be a fun collab.
What's the last one?
The last one here is a Sand Dollar Cafe with the addition of a City People, which would have been a regular town set, as a combo set. You probably could mail in for it.
Yeah,
so.
random extra town figures. Interesting.
Yeah. Which I think many regular town figures from these years would blend in pretty normally. You could make it work with most of them. Although it's worth mentioning, most of the Paradisa figures there's actually a greater skewing towards female characters.
Yeah.
And then any of the male characters usually have sunglasses or a mustache.
Right.
And there's like one or two other that don't have either of those two factors, but it's interesting.
Good point. Yeah, sunglasses, mustache. There were some chefs, but the chefs probably also always have.
They had mustaches. There are a lot of dudes in Paradisa.
On this, probably that would give us a good idea.
Yeah, what we have here is I think both you and I both have this poster.
That one looks like a guy there with the freckles.
Yeah, that might be one. But so a little bit of a different direction for the minifigures.
I don't see any basic smiley faces on anybody.
A lot less than normal, because most of the town sets at the time were pretty simple. Yeah. But this is we got to talk about this poster for a second.
Yeah, that's just good.
But this is kind of reminiscent of Wave 1, because I think these are mostly Wave 1 sets here featured.
I think they are all Wave 1 sets.
And
this is part of Rolling Acres Ranch, Poolside Paradise, Sand Dollar Cafe, and then some of the small ones in the back there.
Exactly. But
this is probably all. How many sets was it? 1, 2, 3, 4? Was it 5 sets?
I
plus
believe
the combo
so.
pack?
Plus the combo pack, which won't be featured on this.
Right.
But
So there you go. That's the full Wave 1.
Nothing on the back.
poster.
But this is my personal poster.
great.
I got it on Bricklink for I think it was like $1.80.
Yeah.
And because nobody even knows this thing is around. But you also have one here at the store you're planning on buying, right?
Yep,
So,
yep.
Yeah, this is great.
I just had a wall space at home for posters. I need a bigger room.
Mine isn't framed because I have nowhere to put it. I'm hoping to get more space one day. The studio's already completely full.
Wall space is highly coveted for Lego fans, so it's hard to justify it for posters.
Exactly. But something that I would note about this is it's very reminiscent of other posters at this time, which were more castle or pirates or other themes.
Yeah.
And this one is trying its best to throw in some action with some guys. You know, their hats are falling off, the horses jumping around, they're carrying the surfboard over the trail.
Yeah. This feels like just a day on Lego Island, right?
Yeah.
You've always got people whose hats are flying off their head, or these two guys are carrying the surfboard, but it looks like
they're going the wrong way.
Carrying, the guy's carrying the stretcher, enter and return or something. It's classic Lego humor.
More chaotic than it needs to be, but it's kind of funny. So yeah, it's great. Really captures the essence of Paradisa and some of the nostalgia there. So. Yeah. But that was the first year of 1992. This continues until 97.
I'm kind of regretting trading in my Rolling Acres range now. I almost have a complete...
You were like 2 sets away.
A complete Wave 1. Gosh darn.
That and the Sunset Stables,
$1
of course.
Cafe and Sunset Stables would be the other ones I need.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe someday.
At what point do you draw the line? Do you need all the Paradisa sets or less? We'll talk about that later.
You go one wave at a time.
We'll talk about that later. 1993 only saw 2 new sets added, but both of them are pretty interesting. You've got the Paradise Playground, which actually features the non-mustached, just normal smiley face on a figure.
Okay, yeah. Right.
First time we see that in the line. And then it also just has a few more gray elements. And just a little playground for a couple of characters. That's fun.
Pretty basic. Basically a little seesaw on a slide.
The next one is probably the most infamous of all Paradisa sets. And I think it's because they're kind of like showing what looks like gambling over on the left side of the set.
We just had one of these in built. We had it for so long. And then...
somebody finally bought it, right?
Yeah, the Peach Slug treasure. Trisha. She just bought it the other day.
Yeah, that's funny, because this is a pretty wild set.
Very infamous.
You got a merry-go-round, another ice cream stand, and then you got what looks like a big gambling wheel over there.
Gambling wheel.
Yeah, spin the wheel for a prize. See
another ice cream thing.
Mm-hmm.
You've got these weird balloon stickers. It's like a creepy kind of carnival. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird vibe. I'm not sure what the plan was for this, but I mean things were different in the 90s. This is 96. Yeah. No, this is 93.
I'll say Wave 2 was a little lackluster, I think.
Yeah, but they were still selling Wave 1 for a couple years after this, yes. And this is just kind of a few additions to spice it up a little bit. Yeah. So
they were sort of trying something different with this playground arcade sort of motif, but I think later on they sort of got back to basics. Yeah, in 94, which is the year I was born, we have the Sidewalk Cafe, which is one we mentioned earlier with the ice cream. I got that one here too, yep. So this one's cool. They've used the windscreen, which is like the perfect angle and look for what you think of as like, what did I say earlier? The Baskin-Robbins ice cream counter.
Yep, exactly.
And you got these little tiles with like 4 different colors of ice cream that he's...
Are those printed on there?
Scooping out there. Yeah, printed parts still. The piece on the front is a sticker though, so we're starting to get a little more into sticker territory. You got a couple palm trees with like a sundae and a milkshake or something on there. But the ice cream pieces down in there were printed.
Now, this is predating the 3 or 4 scoop ice cream piece, right? Was this set... perhaps that situation, because I don't see it there, and I think that's a perfect use for it. You do see it later.
Presumably. I don't know what year that part would have come out in. I'm trying to think of what some of the first earliest uses for that.
Let me see. I know it's in one of the later Paradisa sets.
It should be 90s for sure.
Let's see here. No, maybe it wasn't a later Paradisa set. I'll have to double check on that now. Here it is in the Country Club. There's a couple uses of that piece. Let's see if we can figure out, because I'm willing to bet a penny that is the case. Let's see.
That it hadn't quite come out yet.
That it wasn't around during that release. We're about to find out. Because now it's such a common piece because of being on the pick-a-brick wall and such.
It's tons of different colors now. Which is, I'm glad this part is stuck around.
Oh, 95. So 93 would have predated it by 2 years.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why it doesn't exist.
Yep. Yeah, it would have been a great use for it.
I don't know if that would have come out in Paradisa, but that's probably at least one of the first uses because that's just a few years later. So. But there we go. So predating the ice cream scoop, but they had ice cream ready to sell. They just couldn't scoop it. That's amazing. But another fun set with that little arbor top piece. I kind of want to do a collab where everyone has to make an arbor.
Yeah, you make a little modular.
I've got an idea.
Paradisa collab.
Exactly. So Sidewalk Cafe, great addition. Nice, small, affordable set. Nice red bicycle too.
Yeah.
Would have been cool to see that bicycle in pink, but then the other one is the Cabana Beach.
I don't think we had that.
I don't think we have.
We've
the Cabana
had it
Beach.
recently, but we probably sold it.
Yeah, the Paradisa sets actually
either that or it's still back there.
They sell pretty quickly, but the Cabana Beach has a nice little actual boat or jet ski there. Again with the kind of parasailer, and then you got the little changing stands by the beach. So that's perfect.
Another great use for those sort of stable door pieces.
Well, those might be a solid single door piece.
Oh, is it the taller door?
I'm going to check that for us here. This is why we bought the computer, because there's so many little details that
we can't remember everything.
Pouring over for everything. Because the picture on Bricklink is also the size of like a thumbnail, like a tiny
I think you passed the pink.
Did I pass pink? Yes, I did. There we go. Yep, one single door. Interesting.
Okay. So it's more like the ones that you would think of as being in the Yellow Castle or...
and that's the one time it ever existed, too.
Only set, okay.
Yeah,
so they did the taller doors. That's nice.
Although in bright pink it appears later, which is very similar color, but that's for Belleville later. So.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The more you know.
Here we go. We're as we're going through the sets, we're pointing out all these little weird pieces we're noticing. But that's the fun stuff about
I believe in that set you also had the fishing pole in red. I wonder if that was exclusive to that.
We're gonna find that out now too.
That's a hard one to find.
Let's do a summary. Red one.
Exclusive, yeah.
So Cabana Beach has got two set exclusives. Yeah.
Almost looks like a prototype part. Whenever you see parts in red, sometimes your mind goes to, I wonder if that was a prototype. But yeah, set exclusive for that.
That's really fun. Yeah, and I think that also has a little crab tile, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's what it is.
We'll see that in a couple other sets later too. A few good printed parts that they made for this.
Cabana Beach is getting higher on my list of things I want to collect because of all the weird little idiosyncrasies in it, but that's cool. But 94, again, only two sets. Just kind of adding to the pile.
Yep.
I'm sure the first wave
was
still
how long that first wave ran for. How long they actually kept them on shelves.
I'd say at least 2 or 3 years because it's worth mentioning, there is definitely a first wave with like the solid 5 sets, but Lego set releases were a little different back in the 80s and 90s. They would drop a couple sets per year, and that was pretty normal.
Right.
And then that would kind of encompass the theme, and they would just kind of add to it and keep them on store shelves longer than they do now. They pull them quicker now because they like that urgency, which they didn't have back then. It was just like you could just go get a Lego set. It wasn't that.
We put all this work into designing, and we want everybody to get them who wants them.
Yeah, they weren't so quick on the turnaround, which is fine. But then 1996, which was kind of in the waning years of Paradisa, because this is the second to last year. Oh, no. Did we pass 95? Past 95. Go back to 95. The middle of Paradisa.
There were sets released every year during the years that it ran. At least a couple.
And sometimes that's not the case. But in 95, you had one tiny set, which is the Paradisa Speedboat. It's like, 7 pieces.
Polybag build, basically.
Yeah, it's a little boat.
Did it come in a box? Is there a picture
I think it's a poly bag, but I could be
actually
wrong. Well, we'll find out here.
Hold on. The original box entry, or?
No, that's something that's coming
something else.
Where's the original box entry? Let's see. Yeah, it came in a box.
A little tiny box.
Wow.
For 16 pieces and a minifigure.
Exactly. So pretty small set, but this is one, and I would contest that this is even slightly more iconic in my opinion than the poolside.
Yeah,
building.
I think this is the second. I would say it's the second best.
It's in the conversation at least.
Yeah.
And this is also from your collection too.
This one's mine. Yeah, I still haven't built this one. I need to actually inventory it and wash it still. I think I bought this one off the inventory shelf before they inventoried it, so I would get a better deal.
Exactly. But that is the Dolphin Point, which is a really cool set. It has a early light gray dolphin there.
Yep. So some of the things that are indicating that this is a little later is we're getting more stickers. There's some ones with like ice cream menu boards and advertising sodas and things, but also still some really nice printed parts. So you've got this crab tile again, and then there's these like 2 random like dinner plates at this table that are printed. I don't know why. I imagine they were probably exclusive to this. I don't think they came in anything
They could have been in Belleville, too. We can actually look that up here.
It does look like it could be.
Because Belleville was just starting to come out around these years.
Wasn't there any other Paradisa sets that I know of?
That's for sure.
But we can find out.
Scrolling. There's one of them that's like the steak. Oh, no, one set.
Holy cow. Yeah. And the other one?
And the French fries also
set exclusive. All right.
You get a hot dog on a plate with some French fries.
Yeah, just a hot dog and French fries. And what was the other one? Steak and peas?
Looked like a steak and some greenery there. Yeah, some peas and a carrot.
Yeah. I'm going to take a trip to a lighthouse and order steak and peas. Great. From their ice cream bar. Where are they cooking this?
Yeah, maybe they brought it as a well, maybe they're cooking it on the grill over here.
Yeah, they brought a picnic.
Worth mentioning the first appearance of a non-pink vehicle here with the little sailboat. That's pretty cool. So.
And I imagine they may have been out of production for the Paradisa specific printed parasailer.
The sail.
The sail. So they've gone with this one, which I think might have also been in some other generic town sets there with that sort of red and blue stripe.
Now, classic town at the time wasn't shying away from the beach. You had a couple of Coast Guard and beach scenes, so they would have been almost compatible, just no pink present in those sets to go with these. So
we also got a nice cooler in here, also with that sort of ice cream menu sticker on it for the freezer. I love this radio piece.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have... Actually, I do remember why. when I was in like 3rd grade, my 3rd grade teacher had like a box of Lego that would only come out when we had like indoor recess. And I remember that was one of the few printed parts that were in there. So it was always like between me and the other kids who would always play with the Lego at indoor recess to see like who could get the cool radio piece
Who could find it and then put it on their robot. That's very fun.
That's great. So that was always a highly sought after piece. I've got a good bit of nostalgia for that one.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that those 2 dinner items were only in Dolphin Point. That's, oh my goodness, another set exclusive. Was it sticker or was it print?
One-off printing. Yeah, it's printed.
Looks like it's printed.
And they were a one-off for that set.
I think Stand Dollar Cafe is my favorite, but Dolphin Point is my second favorite for sure.
Yeah.
It just kind of adds to that nostalgia. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, we would probably edit that out, but in the waning years of Paradisa, this is the second to last year.
Paradise what?
Number 4 or 5?
Sorry, I zoned out.
No, that's good. Paradisa in 1996 had 3 sets, which were still really good, but I'm seeing a few things change up a little bit, and I think we'll talk about that in just a second. First of all, it's not just bright, the normal pink. They're seeing some bright pink start to appear. The first one is the Paradisa Lifeguard. It's just a little beach scene with a dolphin.
Yeah.
But what's different is you have a dark pink cup. And dark pink flowers.
Yeah.
And dark pink chair. So a couple...
Got some of these things creeping in,
Yep, because Belleville was starting to go strong at this point.
Yep.
And they're starting to have some crossover with the colors, which, honestly, the dark pink is more, saturated and vibrant than the old pink. The old pink I would actually describe as more of a light pink.
Yeah.
So, it's
and we're just on a yellow plate there, so we're losing some of that kind of minty green sort of island
exactly
feel.
That light green is starting to fade away for just the yellow beach, which still makes sense, but it's starting to not feel quite as
we're in the waning
bespoke
years.
Exactly. But one that you have here over on the far right of our side of the table here is the carriage ride.
That was our first appearance of the foal?
Yes, that and the next set we'll talk about
which were in the same year.
Yeah, same year.
Yeah.
So the foal is there, which is a cool new addition.
Same thing, dark pink chairs, dark pink flowers creeping in.
Dark pink arms too,
dark
so the
pink
figures are
arms
starting
on the
to
torso. Yep. Different torso. This one's got a little bit of a collar. I think the early ones just had the palm tree on it. We've now got the palm tree with the horse and the sort of collar on there.
And then that carriage is a pretty fun build though too.
Yeah, it's sort of evocative of the same old ones that were in Rolling Acres Ranch. I think the Rolling Acres Ranch one was better. It was sort of different in that yellow color scheme. Sort of used that standard hitching piece, but this one now has the little more articulated one with the extra hinge in it on the turntable. So get a little more function out of it.
And more dark pink starting to show up too, which is kind of interesting. So
yeah.
But 96.
Lots of whips apparent in these sets too. So animal rights activists or whatever were probably not thrilled with that. But
no, if I'm not mistaken, I think carriage drivers usually have at least some sort of little rod or something to help direct the horse. But that's it doesn't look good.
Nah, it doesn't look great.
Let's just describe it as that. It doesn't look great. And again we have the country club. This is actually a pretty sizable set. So it went out with a bang in 1996. But
260 parts.
Yeah, it's a 2-story. This is also what we referenced the ice cream in this set, which would have been the first time it appeared.
Yeah.
The foal is also unique. I liked. Don't know if we had any. We didn't have this one with us here, but looking at some pictures online, it had Bella and Pegasus are the 2 horses' names. And then you have a little. It's like a little carriage / I wouldn't even call it a chariot because it's got 2 wheels pulling behind there. But and then you got those little stable doors appearing again.
Also worth noting, those horses are probably the only named characters in all of Paradisa. Because if you go back to the list of minifigures, we've got such hit characters as Paradisa Female 17.
Exactly.
And Paradisa Male 8.
Let's look at some of these minifigures here. Let's see. Palm tree, yellow legs, plain black torso,
I think
red dots.
The Brickopedia just assigned them numbers.
Yeah, they're just numbered people. Yeah.
Go back up.
Yeah.
Paradisa Female 18, Paradisa Female 11.
The chef.
Hey, 11 actually kind of looks like 11 from Stranger Things.
Hey, you're right actually.
So there's a fan theory.
And then 15, 4, 9, 1, 6.
Great.
Lots of different variations, though. I will say the chef is probably the only one who could even kind of come close to a name. That is an occupation, but you could call someone chef.
Lifeguard.
Yeah. So that's pretty funny. But yeah, I do like that larger set, the Country Club. I don't think that's on my high list of ones I need to collect, but it's if you like the stables and horse side of it, that's kind of got to be one of them. So it's pretty cool. it kind of combines the restaurant and the horse.
Gosh,
life.
Were there any printed elements in that set, or had it pretty
This
much
one?
gone to all? We did because we don't have those roof tile pieces that were in Rolling Acres Ranch.
Yeah, I think those are definitely stickers over the arches.
I don't think we have any dinner plates or
we can
anything.
check. We're not on the wrong set here. Hold on. We'll double check that. Because you can tell when they're trying to save money when they start to revert to basically just stickers.
Clearly the waning years here for sure.
Yeah, big
Some
sticker
of the things
sheet.
that made it great early on were kind of disappearing.
Mm-hmm. Not seeing any printed elements that I can detect. Yep, we're free from printed elements at this point. You stick stickers on stuff.
Barring the the horses or the parrots or anything. No printed tiles or bricks.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's
all
pretty
stickers.
sad.
That happens though. But yeah, so at least it had a nice large set for its going into its final year. You had the Paradisa barbecue, which you actually have here.
Yeah, pretty weak set. It's basically all dark pink now, except for her torso. So dark pink dish, flowers, arches, everything. We got this little crouching cat in black, which was surprisingly hard to track down.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Didn't have one in here in the store for a long time. I was missing it from that set.
And I think dark pink, while it is definitely included in several Paradisa sets, I think that's more evocative of Belleville, which is something we'll talk about in just a second. But yeah, you can start to see that's probably the one last real Paradisa set. The other ones seem very kind of interesting, disjointed.
Did we even talk about this one?
That one we did because I had the. Oh no, that one's coming up. I think actually. Here it is. So Seaside Holiday Cottage is what we're looking at here, Daniel.
Okay, yeah. 1997. So the last year that this was running. Paradisa died in 1997. I was born in 1997. So welcome back, Paradisa.
Exactly.
As the kids
You're
say.
reborn. Yeah. But no, this is actually a fun set too. It's got those green roofs, which I think are kind of from like classic town.
They were also in Sail and Fly Marina, I think, which is a huge iconic set. So
yeah, you got the paddle boat.
This I feel like is more in line with what the old ones used to be. But you look at the like instructions in the box art for these. I don't know why. I think was it this year only in 1997. They put these giant speech bubbles on them. And
at least on the Brickling pictures.
This is such fun. I don't know.
It sounds desperate. Yeah. It sounds a little weird. You got
like
some
it was
green
poorly
flags.
Translated or something. I don't know.
Got some green flags on there too, which are kind of a cool
might be a little rare.
nod to classic Castle. A couple of the old pink
hardly
leftovers.
Hardly any.
But dark pink, like that big dark pink slide is very Belleville to me. So.
Would have been much cooler if that had been in the bright pink, like the spiral staircase here.
That would have really...
Those two would have worked well together.
Really been cool.
Or if we had ever gotten the straight staircase, which was like in a couple pirate sets. Maybe some other things. You could have actually made a standalone slide.
These aren't bad sets, but like we're saying, it's just not quite as pure Paradisa as the first few waves. So
I think this is better than some of the other ones. Even like the playground one, which was earlier. Oh gosh,
this is my least favorite Paradisa.
This still has that sort of arch motif in the background.
Yeah, that's nice.
I feel like it fits a little better.
You could blend that in, not too difficult.
Yeah.
But the Fun Fair, which is probably the last Paradisa.
All ice creams are on me.
We'll have to show that picture for you guys.
That could be interpreted multiple ways. So. Everybody's dumping ice cream.
Oh no. So the biggest problem I have with this is it's got these big arch pieces, which are extremely Belleville.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, what is different about this is the little tractor with the little, it's like a little ride that you can...
lots of fairs will have little tractor rides or things that you can go on.
We had one of those.
I see what they were going for.
I used to work at a agritourism place called the Rock Ranch, and we had one of those for sure.
It's very much like a country or a county fair kind of thing, or state fair.
Let me see if I can find the piece for it. Yeah, there it is. Pink container. Yeah. And that is the classic pink color, so that's kind of cool. But
the semicircle cutout.
Yep. Yeah. So that's
what was that piece originally used for? Was that like a Fabuland piece or something?
I think so. I'm not sure 100% the context for it, but that's probably one of the few regular pink apperances for it.
Yeah, big in Fabuland. Or in the, Fabuland, like those Mickey Mouse sets.
One pink, and that's where it's from.
Yeah.
So.
Good use for it, though. I think it fits them comfortably.
Yeah. So at least it had a couple original old pink elements. They were probably getting rid of them at this point.
Well, and interestingly, that railing with the straight bars, the 1x4 railing with the straight bars.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was actually new for this. So they might have still been making some new parts in bright pink for this. Or
And
sorry, regular pink for
That is the
this.
case. It's the only use of that piece.
So they didn't use the lattice one. That's interesting.
They must have. They could have possibly run out. And because I know that in this era they would have had just a bin of pieces that they pulled from for the sets.
Right.
So.
But it seemed like they were just using, the few regular pink pieces they were still using were ones that they already had molds for. Mm-hmm. Whereas new molds like that slide they were doing in the dark pink.
Exactly, to try and...
Is there another spin wheel in that too? Is there a gambling element?
There was, yeah. I don't know if it was a gambling element, maybe a prize wheel.
Okay, now we've got such great prizes as butterfly,
flower,
sun, and heart. Yeah, great.
Also one set, but that is also
That's
printed.
no 10, 20, 30, 40. It was clear what was going on. What was going on at the fun fair?
They were more honest about that one earlier.
Or sorry, no, this is the fun fair. What was the other one called?
Arcade.
The arcade, yeah.
Oh boy.
It's okay, you win tickets and you exchange the tickets for prizes. Yeah.
And then
Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Oh, here's another. The last one of Paradisa we'll talk about is.
This is our last training day before the competition, Beauty.
It's Black Beauty.
We've got one more named character.
Exactly.
3 named horses.
Black Beauty, Bella, and Pegasus. So that's great. But this is a fun little horse-centric build. It works. It's good. And so Paradisa kind of got phased out, and we really have chalked this up to Belleville and Scala appearing. Belleville would have appeared, I think, it had sets in 1994, but it really ramped up production after 96 and 97, which is when Paradisa is just getting phased out. So it was a literal transition. So
I see these stickered, like the metal podium bricks all the time. So I think this is one that just got chucked in the bulk bin probably a lot, because it was just a lot of like discrete parts. There was nothing holding this set together. So I think this one was probably sent in the bin a lot. Yeah,
there's less identity with this. It's just a couple elements scattered around. Yeah. So, but it's Scala.
All right, Chris is
roasting us on the outside. He doesn't understand. He just doesn't get it.
He doesn't get it. No.
But no, Belleville was at the same time as Paradisa, but Scala appeared immediately after and had a huge, multi-set waves going on. Yeah. And they both had differences. They didn't have the old pink color. They didn't have the system figures. They went for these larger, more articulated doll-like figures. There's actually a couple of them over there. You can see on the.
Here, let me grab
you can grab them.
While we got them.
Hey guys.
Hey, we're filming it between the studs. Can we help you?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You know what I like to snack on while I'm building Paradisa sets?
No, what do you like?
Paradisa nuts.
All right. Well, now we have to
include
it.
Yeah.
It's number 6, maybe.
Yeah, number 6.
I don't even know.
I'm gonna have to do a counter, I think, which is unfortunate, but
I don't think these girls' helmets are properly fitting. It looks like a safety.
They're a little big,
a little oversized.
But so these are like as big as the entire building for Paradisa sizes.
Yeah.
So Belleville and Scala would have... Actually, Scala's even bigger. Scala's gigantic. It's Barbie-sized elements.
That Scala murder mystery mansion that was at Brickworld Chicago was humongous.
Very cool, exactly. But before we get too far, we kind of are always kind of enthralled by the different appearance of Belleville and Scala. But how do you feel about Paradisa versus Scala looking back on all this? Which one do you think has aged better? How do you feel about these themes, Daniel?
I think Paradisa has aged better because it was an all-system-based theme. Mm-hmm. We had standard minifigures, we had standard parts. So while we were getting new interesting parts that are still usable later for mock building and interesting colors, they're more easy to incorporate. Obviously a lot of mock builders who like a good challenge will like to integrate things like wacky Belleville parts, but that's a little trickier.
You're working at it instead of just easily integrating.
Yes, so this feels more natural, and unlike Belleville, we've got these crazy like dolls and these huge supersized accessories that may not work with things, but there's some fun things to try and incorporate. Friends has fallen victim to the same sort of thing with mini dolls. Some people like mini dolls, some people don't. It's just your opinion about what you want to work with. Mm-hmm. They have returned to system-based sets though, which is nice. So it's kind of a nice hybrid, I think, which is working for Friends. Clearly, they've been around for is it 11, 12 years now?
Yeah, a decade.
Over a decade for sure. Mm-hmm. So I think this was a good place for them to start keeping it all in system. Belleville, I think they realized they made a mistake by going to the far opposite end of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. While Belleville also ran for probably well over a decade.
Yeah, a long time as well. So
that is maybe not necessarily a good indicator that they were selling well. It was some of the darkest times during.
Yeah, financially speaking, Belleville was not good for their group. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So I like this one the most as being purely system based, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do like this a lot in that it basically fits within Classic Town, even though it's kind of designed for girls a little bit because of the color scheme and kind of environments and stories that are being told.
Yeah.
It is. I could see why this wouldn't necessarily attract the audience they're aiming for, though, as well as some of these bigger, more Barbie-like elements.
Yeah.
But that being said, we don't really know the complete picture of the sales history of Paradisa. We just have the sets and know that they're at least more common than some things like I've never seen a Scala set come into the store ever.
Yeah.
But I have seen a lot of Paradisa. Like we said, it comes in like pretty regularly, consistently.
It must have
not
sold
common,
well.
but it's there.
And what's surprising to me is we get a lot of them still with the box.
Yes.
So girls were buying these, and it might have been the only Lego they had if these weren't getting dumped and mixed in with bulk bins and other things. So
exactly.
The Paradisa we get in that we're able to inventory is nice because it comes in.
It's usually treasured.
Sometimes with the box, with the instructions. And, maybe that means that the person who originally bought it didn't play with it very much, but they, took care of it and they put it away and it stayed together. So
yeah,
it's sort of good for the after collectors market. But
exactly. It's a lot more accessible than some of these other things. Like, again, going to Scala, I think Scala just gets thrown in with the Barbies. It gets either thrown into Goodwill or thrown away. Like, I've just never seen them. Maybe they were less common in the United States. I don't know the full story about Scala. I'll have to do another deep dive into that one day.
Yeah.
But Belleville, kind of the same
different
thing.
Regional availabilities.
We see a few Belleville sets, but I would say less than Paradisa.
Really not very often. Yeah, certainly not in whole ones put together. We get a couple every now and then that Mark buys, but
yeah.
I
think I'm one of the few Belleville fans here at the store.
The graveyard for it is very small, and so it's hard to find when we're missing like a crazy obscure piece.
It's not worth bricklinking it sometimes.
One of these wild saddles or bridles or something.
A little bow piece that's only on the
very unique parts in that for sure. Hard to replace.
Before we get too far away from the sets, let's talk about these watches really quick.
Yeah.
Available on ATLBreak.com.
That's true.
Very good deal on these classic 90s watches.
I think they're on sale too.
Exactly.
We got $26.99 on the watch, and then what's the
45 on the large kit.
45 on the master pack.
Yeah. And these are, they weren't on Bricklink listed with Paradisa at all. They're under the watch system, which you can find them there. But on the side of the box, clear as day, is Paradisa, all in the colorful letters. So
yeah,
we're kind of lumping it in with this, even though it might even lean more towards Belleville for me.
It has that kind of look to it. Yeah, we've got, these are all official Lego colors. I'm not sure exactly which ones they are.
You've got like a light teal.
Yeah, it's like a different sort
purple
of teal.
And medium
dark
blue.
Pink. Yeah.
So some interesting colors. But the fact that it is labeled as Paradisa.
Labeled Paradisa. One of the only watches that was. A lot of them were called things like, Cyclone and Stargazer.
Trailblazer.
Yeah. But there was also, like you pointed out, UFO was another one that was not necessarily directly inspired by the theme, but sort of
associated
was evocative of it enough to share the name. So, if you're a Paradisa fan, get the watch that's called Paradisa.
I think if you're going for the complete Paradisa collection, you have missed out on one element perhaps, and you might want to circle back and get
something not everybody might know about.
So a good addition for sure. When you brought those in, I'm like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
I forgot because I'm looking at Bricklink and I didn't see them.
Well, I was trying to see if there was any other like unusual gear things that we should talk about, like posters and whatnot. So I was just searching, Paradisa on Bricklink.
For sure. But let's see. Okay, one fun question I had for you, Daniel, was this.
Oh, fun! We're getting to the fun questions now. That's good. I was waiting for the fun questions.
This isn't as factual. This is more theoretical.
Oh, okay.
But could you see Paradisa parts in Time Cruisers sets? Could you see them being rotated in? Because I don't remember them having any regular old pink elements in there, but could you see them with an umbrella or...
Well, what years was Time Cruisers
I think it was a little later. Well, no, maybe earlier. Hold on, check. Let's see. Time Cruisers. Time Cruisers. Here we go. And it is 2 words. These would have come out in 96, so it would have been perfect time for...
It was overlapping with the last couple of years.
The last 2 years of Paradisa, but I mean, even though there's a huge variety of pieces, there's no Paradisa elements in there, so missed opportunity. But do you think that would have fit if they had thrown
not
a few
even
in
an umbrella or something?
Yeah,
really?
it's all maybe some classic town in there, but no pink that I can see. So.
Gosh, Darn, that's terrible. That's devastating.
Well, do you think that they missed an opportunity there, perhaps?
I mean, I don't think it was seen as like a distinct time period at the time. Like they were visiting medieval and pirates, and they were visiting these very distinct historical time periods. Whereas Paradisa was presumably set in the present day at the time that it was coming out. It wasn't considered retro at the time. It is now. Is seen that way.
Now that you mention it, my perspective might have been more from this. Time period versus that time period, because this would have been like, oh, you're going to the beach. If Time
Cruisers did a comeback, yes, I'd love to see them visit Paradise.
That would be pretty fun. But now that you mentioned it, I think you see that makes sense. But before you mentioned, like we were talking about why we like Paradise, we were talking about the mock potential for the different pieces. Having built for New Hashima, do you see a lot of regular pink and Paradisa elements incorporated? I know you see a lot of Scala and Belleville because those are the real challenge, but do you see some of these?
We get a lot of those parts incorporated for sure, just for the cool color aspect of it and the unique aspect of it. But I think what Paradisa has more to offer for something like New Hashima is just the aesthetic of it, because New Hashima leans a lot into sort of the 80s and 90s sort of throwback retro futurism also. So yeah, there's a lot of minifigs in New Hashima who are going to be sporting these sunglasses and have little mustaches and things like that. So the 80s aesthetic is definitely a strong component of that for sure. Yeah,
those kind of muted colors can, I think, make a lot of sense in that context for sure.
Yeah.
Before we start to wrap up here, some of these questions, they kind of tie into stuff we've talked about earlier, but are there any Paradisa sets that you really need to complete in your collection? I know you said you're now kind of regretting...
all of them. I mean, no, I don't really regret getting rid of Rolling Acres Ranch. I don't like it as a set.
Okay.
I was saying I was close to having a complete full wave one.
Thinking about that first wave complete.
I think if anything, I would opt to lean towards just collecting all of the beach oriented ones as opposed to doing it by year or wave. So yeah, I've got the Poolside Paradise and the Lighthouse as kind of the two best large scale sets. I think if I got anything next, it might be either a Sand Dollar Cafe here or what was the name of this one?
Beach.
I already forgot.
Beach Cabana Beach House.
Yeah, that one looks pretty nice. I like the look of that one. I think even though it was from the very last year, I think it still fits better than some of the other ones.
Yeah, I think for me, there's definitely some that I want to get. I really like that Lighthouse. I really like the Sand Dollar Cafe.
Yeah,
those two for sure, and maybe some of the smaller ones because that little ice cream stand is really fun. So.
Yeah, it's a nice little sort of modular almost system they've got going on.
Yep, and we do have several not only currently added on for sale, but will be added soon. So there's definitely some things to keep an eye on.
You can go on the website, and I think probably about half of these are on there.
Yeah, exactly. So that is pretty exciting. And we kind of talked about this a little bit before as well. We mentioned Friends. But with the success of Friends, we mentioned that it's been over a decade, it's been around, doing very well. Do you think we'll ever see any girls geared themes that have system figures in them? I mean, obviously, a lot of Lego themes are basically for everyone. They're not so, boy-centric as they used to be, like CMFs. Most Lego fans of all, descriptions love CMFs. But, is there going to be a theme or a couple sets that are more geared towards the feminine side of things? What do you think about that?
I don't think we'll ever see them move away from mini dolls anytime in the near future. They've invested a lot more into different molds that work with that system. It's not just the one mini doll mold anymore. I mean, we've got ones with cargo pants, and we've got male heads and female heads.
Shorts.
Shorts, everything. So
different torso shapes, yeah.
Even if Friends goes away, I think those molds are going to continue to live on through Disney and Superhero Girls.
Wicked
and
coming out.
Wicked using it. So I think those molds will continue to persist, and then whenever they introduce whatever the next Lego branded girls oriented theme is, I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to use that system. It's clearly been working for them for what they want it to do, so I couldn't see. And even if you're not a fan of mini dolls, I think it's brought about a number of good pieces that are made to be compatible with those. We got that panel piece that sort of has the T part in the middle that a lot of collectors put minifigs on to prevent the heels from cracking. I don't think we would have gotten that piece without mini dolls.
I think you're right.
It's what they use to attach their feet. The escalator part is very cool. I think that's a great part. That again, I don't think would have existed quite in the form that it does now without mini dolls having existed. So.
And even some different handlebars with more kind of a different stance.
Yeah,
so some
for
interesting
sure.
pieces. So.
For sure.
Yeah, I kind of miss seeing the little squat minifigures for this kind of theme, but I think that they've really found a way to make the Belleville far outness fit within the system a little bit better for Friends. So it's interesting to see where it started and where it's evolved to.
Yeah,
so,
a good sort of blend of the two.
Exactly. Well, I think that's about all we have for Paradisa today. We covered all the sets, at least a little bit. We'll definitely make sure we show all those pictures up for everyone. Daniel, thank you for bringing your Paradisa collection into the store and talking about it with me. This has been great. So.
Well, I brought more than a pair. A pair of...
Exactly. Number 7.
Yeah.
So, exactly. That's a good counter we had up in the corner of the whole video. Now that I got to edit that in. But yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you learned a thing or two about this very unique and obscure Lego theme. Let us know what other themes you'd like us to cover. We've already talked about like Ice Planet, M-Tron, Adventurers. Yeah. There's still a lot more to talk about though.
There's
so we'll eventually
vintage themes. So yeah, let us know what you want to see come up next.
We'll do another Daniel deep dive at some point. So until then, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you then. Bye bye.
See you, everybody.